So that's the CBR pretty much ready for its first track day. In terms of mods for the track day, I've went one down on the front sprocket, so it's got a bit more. It should have a bit more pull out the hairpin. At the moment, I think it would be too low in the revs in second gear, just based on past experience of CBRs especially actually. And then brake wise, we've got SBS race pads in the front, we've got braided lines, and then we've got RBF 66-0 brake fluid. So the front brakes will be good. It'll have a bit more pull out the corners, but other than that, it's pretty much standard. And I think these are about 110 horsepower, which for a wee track like Knockhill, it should be absolutely fine. It's not the most aggressive riding position, so it might actually be a bit more comfortable as well. So I've done this tonight because I've only got the track days in a couple of days, and I'm not going to have any time otherwise, but I've checked over all the fairing bolts, the brake bolts, everything's tight. The fluid levels, I don't know if you can see that in there. I've checked the oil level, coolant, everything is all as it should be, which is ideal. Next thing to think about is the tyre pressures. So on the road with most tyres, I usually run about 36 in the rear and 34 or something like that in the front. It's usually about those sort of numbers, much lower than what the manufacturers recommend. Usually they're 36 front, 42 rear. But the good thing about Bridgestone is for their tyres, they actually provide what they recommend, the pressures they recommend you use on track. So what they're saying is for these Bridgestone S22s, they're saying 30 psi in the front and 26 psi in the rear. Probably because you're going to get so much heat in the rear tyre, you need to drop the pressure a bit. And those are cold pressures as well. My mate's actually bringing a spare set of tyre warmers, so I'm going to use them, but I don't actually need them for these tyres. It just means that I'll be able to pick up the pace from pretty much the sighting lap onwards and not have to worry too much about cold tyres. Another thing you probably want to do if you're going to track, take off your mirrors. They're just a distraction. You don't really want to be worrying about what's going on behind you. And the other thing is, some people cover up their speedo as well. I've done it before. This time I'm not gonna, because I'm planning on having a GoPro on there, and I want to be able to look back and see the speed that I've been going. After I've done this, I'm gonna go and fill the tank. So I'm gonna brim it, and then I've got a 20 litre jerry can that I'm gonna fill that another day when I've got the car. So that'll be about, I don't know what the tank is on these, about 17 litres. But between that and the jerry can, it should be just enough for a full track day split into 20-minute sessions. Then the suspension settings. So usually for these, there's like an old bike website or bike magazine called Cycle Rider or Sport Rider or something. I think it's a US based thing, but what they used to do is every time they reviewed a bike, they would record what their optimum suspension settings were. So usually I'd either go to that as a first port of call, just to see what they recommend. But I actually found I think it was an MCN article with two of their journalists riding the bikes on track. I think one was 10 stone and one was 16 stone, and basically had their optimum settings. Because my weight's kind of halfway between both, I've tried to pick settings that were halfway between both. I've been running these on the road for a couple of months, so it's barely been used on the road, to be fair, but they actually feel pretty good. Everything feels pretty tight. I think especially with changing the fork seals and the fork fluid, that's probably helped as well. But we're running on the front, we've got compression 1 turn out, rebound 1 turn out, and the preload at the top showing 3 lines. And on the rear, I've not bothered touching the preload, but the compression's 3/4 of a turn out, and the rebound is exactly the same. So those are the settings I'm going to be going with. I doubt I'll change them on track, because suspension gets complicated when you don't know what you're doing, and I think only only people like Dave Moss really know what they're doing when it comes to that. And then the final thing is, so for the GoPro, I'm gonna have one up here where you'll see the dash and through the windscreen. It's not the best view. It kind of looks a bit like a first-person view in a computer game. And the glass in the screen obviously isn't crystal clear with it being a bit older. But I plan to record it there, see what that's like, and then I'm also going to get one of the sticky pads I've got, and I'm going to put it on the side of here and have it looking off the side of the bike like this with the wide angle lens. Obviously the camera will be tilted, but I'm just going to film it like that, and when it comes to in editing, I'm just going to adjust the orientation so that it's level. So it'll cut the resolution down a bit because I'll be losing some of the picture, but I think it'll be better. I'll just adjust it so it's straight in editing, and then we'll see what that's like. In the past I've tried having the GoPro at the back, but I think it's just too central and too far away from what's going on. So I think hanging it over to the right, bearing in mind that the layout of the track is clockwise, so most of the corners are going to be going right. I think it should look pretty cool, especially if I get my knee down, which hopefully I will. Oh, and one other mod for track is the tank grips, just to give a bit more grip for braking and a bit more grip for leaning off the bike. And there we go, that's it. So hopefully the next video will be some of the track footage, assuming I don't fall off and die. Cheers everyone.